Do you know what it is to have a player going into a season where you dream you're going to be good, but you know you're not going to be good, but you have a player who you know you're going to trade and you're going to get a boatload full of prospects that's going to set your team up, and you have all of these trades going on. You're ready to roll, then the season starts, and then that player gets hurt, or worse, that player stinks. It is, I don't want to be full of hyperbole here this morning because I feel like I have been a little bit because of my gratitude and butterflies in my stomach. Although that could be last night's meal. Do you know what it is to have what you think is a plan and then have that plan get completely destroyed? Sandy Alcantara, an ace, a true ace for the Marlins. A great trade that the Marlins did after I left. Can't take credit for that one, just like I can't take blame for the bad ones. Didn't do the Yelich-Stanton trade. Didn't do the Ozuna trade. All of that said, Sandy Alcantara was the number one starter. And then he was an ace. And then he got hurt. He's back this year, and he's making $17 million in what is a very friendly deal for a pitcher of that quality. When you mark your players to market and you calculate what Sandy should be getting paid, and you look around at some of the Drek getting paid 17, you look at yourself and say, wow, that's a $30 million starter. And then you get to capture that incremental $13 million in the form of players. You get to go to organizations and you get to cherry pick and you get to do a Nationals Juan Soto deal with the Padres. And then the games start. And then Sandy can't get anyone out. He has an 8.47 earned run average this year after his start yesterday against the San Diego Padres. He's allowed at least 2 earned runs every start. But the problem is, in 8 of his 11 starts and 6 in a row, he's allowed 4 or more runs. He's throwing his curveball way too much. He's throwing his slider way too little. He's getting no swings and misses. None. Nobody's chasing. Nobody's hitting the ball softly. He is pitching like the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball. I want you to just understand the dichotomy between what was supposed to be and what is for the Miami Marlins. What was supposed to be is the Panthers weren't going to be in the Stanley Cup. The Dolphins were going to keep stinking, and the Heat were going to be finished after trading Jimmy, if not before. And this was their moment. Instead, they've got an asset that has declined to the point that if he qualified as a starting pitcher, he'd have the worst earned run average by 3 runs over the second worst pitcher in all of baseball. And you're saying, well, David, that means that he hasn't pitched enough, because you know from learning on Nothing Personal, to qualify to win the earned run title or to just be on the board, either good or bad, you have to have pitched 1 inning per game that your team has played. The Marlins have played 54 games, and he's pitched 50 innings. If he had pitched 54 innings, he'd be on the board, and he'd be last on the board. Just think about this when I name the pitcher right now. Trevor Williams is the worst qualified starting pitcher. Nothing Personal fans, you may remember Trevor Williams traded him for Jim Benedict, the coach. Oy vey. 4869. You remember Trevor Williams traded him for Jim Benedict, the front office executive. Oy, God, I can't even imagine that that's what we did. We had to pretend we didn't, but we did. So Trevor Williams is last, but once Sandy pitches another couple innings, he'll qualify. And then what happens? What do? Do you keep starting him? Do you shut him down? Put him back on the injured list when this is the time that you were starting to take trade offers for him? The Marlins now have 2 choices. One, you keep him for the rest of the year, and he becomes less valuable during the offseason because he's had such a crappy season, but you can hope that he improves But if he doesn't improve by July 31st, then you're stuck paying him for a team that's going nowhere. Total waste of money. You haven't gotten a huge number of prospects to try to become Baltimore before this season. Or do you trade him for less? Shed the money. Cut your losses. Do you want to know the quickest way to get poor? Quickest way. It's easy. Sell low and buy high. It's brilliant. What could go wrong? Sandy Alcantara, is he done? Is he permanently done? Is he one of those guys who can never recover from TJ? Or is it just taking him a minute, which we know it can happen with pitchers, where they can have an entire season back where they're not themselves, and then they come back next spring and they're good. So the Marlins can say, you better trade me that full set of prospects because he's going to be the Sandy of old. And the 29 other teams say, nope, you're going to have to prove it. He's going to have to not just show health, he's going to have to show quality and consistency. There's going to be a stalemate between what the Marlins want for Sandy and what the market's willing to give, which will lead to no trade, because no trade is better than a bad trade. Here's the other way to look at it. All of the trades that happen when you get prospects, you can get Andrew Miller and Cameron Maybin and think you've done a great job by trading a Hall of Famer, and then you realize that you absolutely only got Burke Badenhop. You can make a trade where you get a throw-in, and the throw-in's name is Dontrell Willis. We don't really know everything as baseball executives. We pretend we do because we're in front of cameras, and we want you to think that you can't do what we do because we're specially trained. We're specially smart, Ivy League smart. Nah, we're just like you. We're just trying to guess right most of the time. We're trying to figure out if the computers are telling us the right thing, or what our eyes see, or are we relying on the right player personnel people and the right scouts and the right development people? Did we choose our manager right? Did we choose our head of sales right? What have we done right versus what have we done wrong? And frankly, we need distance from it before we really know. Because when you're in it, you're in it. You're up close to it.